Watch out for the cord. If you could see the first slide, you would see some pictures. Thank you. Whoa. And watch out. I will take this. Watch out for the cord. Let's see. It's starting. So if you look on this pictures here, you would find a mouse, a fruit fly, nematodes, I don't know what the one, oh, a yeast, and then a flower called Arabidopsis. These are our top 5 common model organisms. What do you mean by model organism? These are what we use in the lab to do a lot of experiments on. So what is biotechnology? We do have a definition for you. It's the use of artificial methods to modify the genetic material of a living organism or cell to produce new or to do new functions or novel compounds. So you're taking a cell, or an organism, you're altering the genetic information, and you're making it do something new. So you're making it do something it doesn't naturally do. Which at first sounds bad, but it might not be. We can improve the health of livestock, improve the health of crops. How many of you want to eat food that's been sprayed with pesticides? How many of you would rather that we put a gene into a plant so that we don't have to use pesticides on it because it makes the pests not want to eat it? That one's a little slippery. And the idea of a slippery slope here that if we start down a little bit, suddenly we can change people. We don't want to do that one. How many of you have ever taken an antibiotic? Or had a vaccine? Biotechnology. If anyone uses insulin, oh, the way we used to get it was pretty disgusting. We used to get it from pigs and cows, so we would kill them. We also would get it from cadavers, which sounds problematic. So now we actually use bacteria to produce it and make it for us in the lab, which is a whole lot safer and a lot better regulated. That's better for us. I have friends that work in industry that are working on something really cool with biotechnology. What if your car could run on algae? No gasoline, algae. And what you need to supply it with would be like sunlight and carbon dioxide. How cool would that be? It's biotechnology. And then sometimes we're doing selective breeding, which we've done. We've all seen Stassi's puppy. Right? We've seen Stassi, the puppy. We've seen Sophia's dog. Oh. The dog. Stassi is the puppy. Apologies. How many of you have a dog at home? What kind of dogs do we have? Labs, boxers, bulldogs, pits.
Mine's like
3 different things. So we've created all of these different lines of dogs by selectively breeding them for different traits. Are some dogs really good at hunting? Others really good at herding? So we've selected them for different things. Just like your bananas that we have selected to be sweeter tasting and tiny seeds. Hopefully you guys know the answers to this. What's DNA? Your genetic material. What does it contain? Nucleotides. A, T, G, and C. What is it made of? Nucleotides. Where is it found?
In the nucleus.
In the nucleus. And DNA looks like all of these things. So it is a double helix. It wraps around proteins called histones, and then it's going to compact into chromosomes. A couple of these slides are really easy, which is why we're starting it. And this is what DNA itself looks like. That double helix, you have two sides parallel to each other, where the A bonds with T and the G bonds with C always. They look like this. The last thing we're going to mention is the idea of recombinant DNA. In recombinant DNA, we in the lab isolate a piece of DNA. We then take some DNA from something else, and we make it part of that sequence. Recombinant DNA is when you take DNA from one source and add DNA from at least one source to it. So it contains DNA from two or more sources. Think of that as two or more animals, or an animal with a bacterial, or something like that. Once inside the host cell, this recombinant DNA is going to make copies of itself. How many of you are a little freaked out about this DNA right now? Okay, here's the good news for you. This is how we make insulin in bacteria for humans to use. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Every time you get sick and your body then develops immunity to something, this is what we use. This is what your body uses. This happens all the time. And 99% of the time, what goes on in nature with this is perfectly good. Sometimes it gets a little messy. We'll talk about that part next time.